what EQ is all about is the art of listening. And as coaches, as leadership coaches, as parents, as husbands, as wives, as lovers, as, as storytellers, I think you have to listen. You have to listen to the verbal and non-verbal cues. And in my occupation as a storyteller, in 2 decades of storytelling, in 2 decades of entertaining, I've collaborated with everybody from Sir Jeffrey Archer to Virat Kohli, and I can tell you that you have to listen to verbal and non-verbal cues. And when you're on the stage, when you're on stage, off the stage, it's all about presence of mind. It's all about body language, but it's also about listening. It's also about not judging the person who's in front of you, because I think everybody has a story. Now, this photograph is obviously with the legendary Jeffrey Archer, and this man has been writing stories for the last 60 odd years, which is a lot of time. And he's been writing stories which have become movies, which have become web series, which have become episodes, which are dinner table conversations, coffee table conversations, fireside chats also. And this typically is what EQ is about. EQ is not just about the art of listening. EQ is also about the gratitude we can have for the life which we have. Very recently, when I was traveling by train from Bangalore to Coimbatore, there was this very handsome-looking gentleman who was sitting next to me, and we got talking, which is what I always do. I talk to people around me, and as compared to being on apps. And this gentleman was working in the Indian Army. He's a 24-year-old man. He was working with NDA, and he was telling me about his life there. And that's when I realized 24-year-old man is guarding our border. And here we are in the comfort of our lives in the train traveling from one city to another city. And this man was all about, what he does there and how he's serving the Indian Army, NDA, which is not easy to get in, and the discipline, the rigor which he has to like. But he also had something which was very unique to, I think, EQ, which was listening, and which was also the fact that he had a lot of passion. He had a lot of passion, a lot of jazba for what he was doing for India. And I think somewhere that conversation resonated. This train journey was for 8 hours. I think 8 hours we didn't sleep a wink, in spite of tasty dishes which were coming our way in the AC compartment. The vada sambar, the biryanis were competing with our conversation, but they were no match to us because we were just talking, we were getting to know each other more. And it was so interesting when you get to meet somebody like this, who's obviously doing something really important for the country. You realize that you have a lot of gratitude, of course, for the life you have, but also for all of them who are at the border, and be at any, and not just on the border, but they're serving the country. And that's when it hits you hard. That's when it hits you hard that you are just a tiny speck in the entire universe, right? There's so much more happening around you. There's so many more things which can be done. There are so many more things which happens around us as coaches. So as coaches, I think we need to be very conscious of the people we deal with. We need to be very conscious of the counselees we have. We need to be very conscious of the fact that many of them will not want to talk to us in the first instinct. So, what is your point of view? What are the topics we can talk about? Uh, it's also about observing. It's also about body language. It's also about asking the right questions. It's also about asking about a favorite movie. Asking about your favorite book. Asking about your favorite dish. There are so many things we can talk about. But the problem is technology has taken over all of us. Technology is trying to have a relationship with all of us, I feel. Technology is saying, Shekhar, we have not ordered for a long time from Zomato. Are you angry with me? This is technology talking to you. Okay? And you're like, my God, a human being does not talk so much as much technology talks to you. And that's where I think it's very important that not just EQ, but storytelling takes over. And as coaches, as leadership coaches, I think it's very important for us to understand the role of EQ as well as storytelling. Because I think these two skills are going to be the super skills for the 21st century. If you don't have those skills, you will really lose. But there is a way to get those skills. It's about not being judgmental. It's about listening. It's about creating stories. It's about making impactful stories, making powerful stories. It's about having stories which resonate with the audience. It's about having a point of view. And I think it's also boils down to our perspective on life. When I say perspective on life, what are your perspectives on life? I believe life is a journey, life is a destination, life is company. But there's so much more to life. Your perspective on a life. For example, I always talk about the fact that I've been to Mount Kailash, Mansarovar Lake. I've lost 50 kilos in a year. Um, I dealt with the death with the death of my child Akira, who passed away 6 years back. I talk about the fact that I'm an entrepreneur and I work with different people, different stakeholders. But all these experiences somewhere has made me the person that I am. that tomorrow if I fail,
Yo, yeah.
which we all will, I will
Yeah.
take it in a manner where I can smile through it and say, you know what, I failed, but I learned from it. I think that it truly is an example of EQ. EQ is all about your perspectives on life. EQ is all about how do you look at life and say, you know what, I'll take this down, I'll take this line down, and I'll come back stronger the next day. I think that's what EQ is about. EQ is something which every leader should have. And we have seen in today's day and age, not many leaders understand what is EQ. Because I think it all boils down to respect. It all boils down to how do you want to treat others, right? And if you look at leaders around us, global leaders around us, I'm talking about leaders of the likes of our Barack Obama, very charismatic, leaders of the like of our honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Modi. Uh, he understands, he has an emotional connect to people, which either you like him or you hate him, but you cannot deny the fact that he has an emotional connect. Somebody like Nelson Mandela, somebody like Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi ji, all of them, even Indira Gandhi, for example, they all were leaders who understood their audience well. They all knew, they all had an emotional connect because they have lived that life or somehow they were able to connect. I think somewhere I think the art of listening was very important there. It's about listening to stories, it's about understanding the stories and seeing where can we connect here, where can we connect the dots. And I'm telling you this purely from example because I work in the media industry, I work as a storyteller, I work as an entertainer where I work with different people. Very recently, I did a show with Vidya Balan. Yes, the very sporting, the very cool Vidya Balan, and she's a delight to collaborate with. When I say delight, you can totally understand why she's so fun loving because she's very clued into what you're saying. A lot of them, when you talk to them, they're not listening into you. They're just waiting for responding. She was very clued in to what I was telling and then responding based on that. We had a very engaging fireside conversation, which is there on my YouTube page. But the bigger part here is what does it take for her to understand what I'm saying? And I think that's the reason why they are successful in what they do. I think somewhere creativity is so important. Somewhere you also understand that it's with when you are as creative as we all are. I think it's very important to be a great listener. It's very important to listen without any judgment. It's very important to have a perspective on whatever you see around you. You need to connect the dots. You need to understand that there are so many things which is happening around us, right? So I think it's very, very important that listening or EQ is not just about emotional quotient. It's also about awareness. It's also about it's also about gratitude. It's also about your spiritual health, your mental health, and your physical health. Which basically means how well are you taking care of yourself, right? I think you've got to be the best friend to yourself. You've got to take care of yourselves. You've got to make sure that you are the best version of yourself every single day, every single moment, every single second. I think we're living in a world which is also very negative. Everybody says that life is a bed of roses. Life was never meant to be a bed of roses. It's all it's all a creation of Hallmark. It's all a creation of advertisements. Life was never meant to be a bed of roses. Life was always meant to be a fight. For you to fight, you need to understand yourself inside out. You need to know that you need to be the best version of yourself every single day, every single moment, every single second. And that's the conversation I was having with Jeffrey Archer. We were talking about cricket, we were talking about books, and I met him a couple of times in London. And I can tell you this: the man is at the top of his game. He knows what he's talking about. He's a great conversationalist, not just about his book, but he has an opinion on everything under the sun. And those experiences actually sharpen your saw because you know this is what it takes for them to reach that level.
ರೀಲಾಗ
So why can't I
ಬೋರ್ಡ್ಸ್
be at that level?
ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ
That's the point, right? If you can move to the next
ರೀಲಾಗ
slide.
ಹೋದ್ರೆ ನೋಡು 50,000 ಸುಮಾರು ತಿರುಗ್ಬೋದಣ್ಣ.
Thank you, Venki.
ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಟಿಕೆಟ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು.
And I think one more important thing here is curiosity. Yes, that's Sudha Murthy, ma'am. Yesterday was her birthday. It was also Humanitarian Day last yesterday, and I've done a couple of shows with her, and I can tell you she's as simple as it gets, but she also knows her audience very well. Uh, I did a
ಹೆಂಗ?
show where I moderated a show between her and Shashi Tharoor. It is like the best of both the worlds. One is as simple as it gets, and one is like a walking, talking Ren and Martin. And I'm in the middle of all this trying to moderate a discussion. And it was very interesting because she is unfluttered. Uh, she is an unstoppable
ನೋಡು
force.
ಅದ್ರಾಗೂ ಬದಲು.
Yeah, it sounds like the Dark Knight is coming, and he's an immovable object, and he came late because of a traffic jam, Mr. Shashi Tharoor. But I must tell you, both of them, they understand the audience well, but particularly about her, for the shows I've done with her, for the things I've picked up from her, I realize that she knows her audience well, yes, and she also writes books which are very simple. I have an intern who was telling me today that
ನಿನ್ನ
when he
ಬಡ್ಜೆಟ್
was in the eighth
ಇದು
and ninth standard, He had read a book which was written by her. And today I had a conversation with the team and I told the team that this is what my internet mentioned. They communicated the information back to Sudhamurthy. I had a call with her and she was overjoyed. Simple pleasure of life. I think that curiosity to happiness, right? We're all searching for happiness in some form. We're all trying to search for happiness. We're all trying to capture it. We're all trying to hold on to it. I think the key to happiness is just, it's just character. The key to your EI is just about having kindness in your heart, having kindness in your soul, and just connecting, just understanding yourself well. I think we need to understand our core well. When I'm saying our core well, I think somewhere with technology the way it is, with the world the way it is, the way things are happening around us, we forget to realize that our core can be really, really strong. And that's where I think when you meet somebody like Sudha Murthy, you realize that she's very curious by nature. And she's very clear about why she's writing and what she's doing and the kind of impact she has. I don't know how many of you would have seen the Kapil Sharma show, which had come in, and she was there with Ravina Tandon. And that show, I think, had the maximum views on TV and on social media. The reason being, simplicity never goes out of business. Being simple never goes out of business. The simpler you are, the easier it is to communicate your thoughts. Now, for example, if I'm talking to you, I'm being very honest, being very straightforward, being very clear about what I want to tell you because I have no hidden agenda. I understand my core well. I know for a fact that if I'm talking to you about something
September
which I
ಇದು ಕರೆ ಇದ್ದ
know well, which is emotional
ರಾಜಸ್ಥಾನ್ಗೆ
intelligence, which is partly due to my dog
ಕರೆದಲ್ಲಿ
also, who's
ಬರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ
right now sleeping and is
ನನ್ನ
going to come in
ಹೆಸರು
now in the next few seconds. It's also because of the fact that I'm very curious by nature.
ಪ್ರಿಯಾಂಕಾ ಚೋಪ್ರಾ
I think somewhere we
ಹಚ್ಚಿದ್ದಾರೆ
have to understand why are we doing and what are we doing it for? What is the why? Why do you want to do? Do you have that magical power to impact people? Do you have that magical power to inspire people? Do you have that magical power to tell stories? Do you have the magical power to just listen without any judgment? Do you have that magical power to understand that, you know what, this too shall
ಕಿಚನ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್
pass?
ತಾನ್ರಿ
I will be successful tomorrow. Today, I can fail. Do you have that magical power to just understand that, you know what, the world does not spin around me? I'm just a tiny speck in the universe. But let me make the most of each and every moment. I think if you look around us, if you look at great leaders around us, if you look at, if you look at somebody like a Shah Rukh Khan, for example, Shah Rukh Khan, wherever he is, he captivates his audience. He owns the audience. He owns that moment. He may be a superstar, he may not be a superstar, he may be a good actor, he may not be a great actor. But I feel is a great host because he makes you feel special when you are with him on stage. And I think that truly is EI. Emotional intelligence is the understanding what that person is going through. I know for a fact that all of you are listening and all of you are clued in, all of you are excited, all of you are there for a particular reason with ILA. But what makes it more special is how effectively are you listening? How effective is your subconscious mind? That's what NLP is all about. How effective is our subconscious mind? Because I think we are all creative souls. This is something which I tell at every session. Uh, all of us. Yes, SRK has that positive aura. I
ಏನು
think that
ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್
aura is
ಏನು ಹಿಂಗೆ
which
ನನಗೆ ಯಾವ
that,
ಟೈಪ್
that
ಇಷ್ಟ
aura is
ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ
very
ಫೋನ್
has got a
ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ
glimmer, has got that sparkle which no filter can take care of. That's a good caption.
ಸುಧಾಮೂರ್ತಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ
No,
ಬಂತಲ್ಲ
I
ಶಾರುಖ್
also
ಖಾನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ
believe that
ಮಾತಾಡಿದ
all of us,
ಪ್ರತಿ ಸತಿ ಅದೇ
all of
ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ
us
ನಾನು
are
ಅದನ್ನೇ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ
creative
ತಿರುಗಿಸಿ
souls,
ಹೇಳೋದು
and creative souls don't work as per a
ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ಏನು
formula.
ಹೇಳೋದು ಅದು ಬಿಟ್ರೆ
We don't work on a 9 to 5 routine. कि ये यहाँ करना है, इसे करना है. Yes, we have a structure in our
ಹತ್ತು
mind,
ಒಳಗೆ ಯಾರು
but
ಕೇಳೋದೇ
creative
ಇದ್ರೆ
souls love to flow against the tide.
ನಾನು
Creative
ಆರು
souls
ಇಪ್ಪತ್ತಕ್ಕೆ ರೆಡಿ
are
ಇರ್ತೀನಿ
outliers. When I say outliers, we love to shock people. We love to surprise people. Not because we love it, but because that's a basic character. Because we are true to our souls. If you're a creative soul, if you're a true leader, your character has to be really strong. And then characters being really strong, it doesn't mean that you should be of a noble class. What I basically mean here is what are the kind of stories you want to tell your audience? What are the kind of stories you want to talk to your counselor about? Can you listen without any judgment? Uh, how interesting is
ಇಪ್ಪವೆಲ್ಲ
the fact that you
ಅಪ್ಕಮಿಂಗ್
get to
ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್
meet so many
ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ಸ್
interesting souls in a day. Each and every moment is special. For me, this
ಇದೊಂದು
moment when
ಫ್ರೀ
I'm talking
ಸೆಷನ್
to
ಫ್ರೀ ಸೆಷನ್
all
ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ
69 of
ಒಂದು
you is the
ಪರ್ಸನ್
most special
ಕರೆದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು
moment in my life.
ಇಂಡಿಯನ್
Right
ಲೀಡರ್ಶಿಪ್
now at
ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿ ನೀವು
5:47
ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್
in the
ಹೋಗ್ರಿ
evening, and I won't give this moment up in a hurry. If I'm talking to all 67 of you right now on this very interesting forum, and 69 of us, I think it's a special moment, right? And it goes without saying that we're all in here for a specific reason. So I think it's very important that character. Your character is going to be your biggest armor. When I'm saying character, your character is going to be that armor which is going to shine through in whatever you do in life. There are two things which are very important: character, and charisma. And I think I'll give it the power of three: character, charisma, and credibility. If these three things are not there, then you might just lose in this entire journey, because I believe we are not in a competition with anyone else. We're just competing with ourselves. We're trying to be the best version of ourselves every single moment, which basically means when I look at animals around me, when I look at dogs around me, I feel they live in this moment. I'm able to observe. When I observe them, I feel that they're just living in this moment. When playing fetch or playing ball is the most important
ಎಲ್ಲ
moment in
ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್
their lives.
ರಿಕ್ವಿಸ್ಟಿಗೆ
We are
ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು
all stuck in this rat race of thinking in the future or thinking of the past. If you think in the past, there are so many movies made on the fact that, oh, the 90s were good, oh, the 80s were good, oh, the 70s was good, because it takes you back to a time when
ಹೇಳಕ್
everything was a little slow, a little more languid, and things were within your control. In the future, you don't know how it's going to be, right? So I think this very moment, at this very moment, when you're living this moment, should be the most special moment in your lives. Because if you don't live in this moment, if you don't enjoy this moment, if you don't thrive in this moment, if you don't revel in this moment, you will not enjoy life. You'll always be in a position that, yaar, ye karna hai, ye karna nahi hai, ye
अकस्मात
karna nahi hai. You'll always be stuck in the situation that
ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ
should I
ಪಕ್ಕಕ್ಕೆ
or should I not?
ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ.
You don't want to be in a position. You just want to go with the flow. So I think
ಹಿಂಗೆ
it's very,
ಮಾಡಿ
very important
ಅನ್ಸಲ್ಲ.
when for
ಕ್ಯಾಮ್ರಾ ಆನ್
example, when I
ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು
talk
ಒಂದು
about
ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಶಾಟ್
character,
ತಗೋತೀನಿ.
that you have to keep thinking, keep moving forward, and also realize you don't win the silver, you lose the gold. That's my favorite quote, because I believe we have to be aspirational. I believe we have to be passionate. I believe we have to understand that EQ is obviously more important than IQ. I think the world around us is changing towards EQ. The world around us talks about EQ because EQ is all about kindness. EQ is all about gratitude. EQ is all about grace under pressure. EQ is all about, EQ is all about, understanding that, you may not win all the time. You would fail sometimes, but failure, I think, is a stepping stone for success. We have all been brought up thinking that, you have to win, you have to win, you have to win. But that's not the point at all. Life teaches you so many things. It's about taking what life teaches you and keep moving forward. And then the bike also understands that. But the point of the matter here is very simple. I think it's very important to keep your eyes wide open, to observe what's happening around you, to watch nature, because you also need to realize that at the end of the day, we all live a certain period of life, right? We all have a certain high periods of life, certain low periods of life. You got to maximize the high periods. And on the queue, I have that sunshine for you. I just did a TED talk very recently at TEDx Amboli. I think I was the only speaker in that group who didn't have a script in hand, who just spoke from experience, either because I was really stupid, or I was overconfident, or I was just talking from a different stage altogether, or I was high on something. But that was not the case at all. I was just excited of being at the TEDx stage. And if there is somebody I'm inspired by, it's my dog Sunshine. The reason being, I think she's got the most inquisitive eyes in the world. The reason being, I feel she's very honest to what she does, which is if she has to have food in the morning, she has food in the morning, provided we give it to her. But the point of the matter here is very simple. She lives her life the way she wants to live. And I think she's very special. And like I said earlier, I
ಅದೇನ್
think it's
ಬೆಡ್
very important for us
ಬಟ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ
to be
ಹೆಂಗ್
curious,
ಬಂತು
ಯಾವುದು?
because it's also about being at the right time, right place with the right people. We all talk about luck. We all talk about talent. I think talent is highly overrated. It's just about being at the right time, right place with right people. And for that, you have to ensure,
ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಗಂಟೆ
if you look around you right now on this virtual platform, you're an average of the five people you see around you. You have to check whether the five people you see around you are really worth your wavelength or not. If not, you have
ಬಟ್ಟೆ
the
ಬೇಡ
power.
ಜಗ್ಗೋಗ್ತು
ನಾನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ.
That sounds like Star Wars, right? You have the power to choose who's
ನಾನು
right
ನನಗೆ
or
ಎರಡು
who's wrong for you.
ಇದಾವಲ್ಲ,
Because, like I said,
ಜಗ್ಗೋದು
it's only
ಕರ್ಕೊ
one
ಆಗಲ್ಲ.
life.
ಈ ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ಸ್
We have
ಇದು
got to
ಇತ್ತಲ್ಲ
be our own best friends, because at the end of the day,
ನಿಂಗ ಆ ಜಿಮ್ಮನ್ ತೋರ್ಸಿದ್ನಲ್ಲೋ
even your shadow will desert you,
ತಗೊಂಡು.
right? I don't want to sound like Rumi here. I don't want to give you a Rumi poetry. But what I really want to say here is very simple. Keep it simple. Make sure your character
ಪಕ್ಕ
shines very strong in your interactions with your clients, with your customers, with your leaders. And,
ಟ್ರ್ಯಾಕ್ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್
also
ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದ
take heart in the fact that everybody loves a kind word.
ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅದು
Everybody
ಬೇಕು
loves
ಅಂತ
ಪ್ರಭು
appreciation. Everybody wants to be
ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಇದೆ.
appreciated. If you want to
ನಂದೇ
appreciate
ವಾಟ್ಸಪ್
somebody,
ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು.
please go ahead and
ಮತ್ತೆ
appreciate them
ಅದೇ
in public.
ಇಲ್ಲಿ
If you want
ಬಂದೈತಲ್ಲ
to admonish somebody, please do that in private.
ಟ್ರ್ಯಾಕ್
It's a
ಪ್ಯಾಂಟ್
sandwich for
ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದ
them. Even animals
ಏನಪ್ಪ ನನಗೆ
understand
ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು
appreciation, by the
ಬರ್ತಾರೆ.
way. If I'm playing catch up with my dog, we teach her some new tricks and she does it well. If I compliment her, she loves it. Her tail wags. That's something which is always done. You realize a lot when you look at animals, when you see how they work, how they operate, how they work in a team, how they collaborate with each other. So I think one important skill in EQ is understanding your audience, the art of listening, having gratitude for each and every day, each and every moment, because I think life itself is a blessing. Also, making sure that you don't judge people around you. Everybody wants to be respected. Everybody wants to be loved. I think, Swalia, you said it, right? I think it's very, very important. And I also come from see, we're living in a place like India, which is such a diverse, such a colorful country. Our culture as a standpoint, right? We have gone through so much in the last 70 odd years. And I have traveled around the world. And I can tell you this, I've traveled to places like China, Australia, US, United Kingdom, Maldives, Sri Lanka, and Nepal. Nepal I went to for
ಅದಕ್ಕೆ
going to Mount
$2,000
Kailash, Mansarovar Lake. Each and every experience taught me so much. The different cultures, the different customs, the different
ಇದೆಲ್ಲ
people,
ನೆಟ್ಗೆ
what they
ತಂದು
like, what they don't
ನೋಡಿ
like. And I
ಡಿಸೈನ್
realized that
ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಬೋದು.
India is such a beautiful country. I'm not saying that Mera Bharat Mahan, no, I'm not joining a
ಮಚ್ಚ
political
ನೀ
party,
ಕೇಳೋದು
though I've
ನಾನು
been asked to.
ನಮ್ಗೀಗ
But the point of the matter here
ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ
is, I think we
ಹೋಗ್ಲೇಬೇಕು.
got to be proud of what we do.
ಇದು ಎರಡು ಬದಿಗೆ ಒಬ್ಬ
We got to feel good about ourselves. We got to
ಎರಡು ಬದಿಗೆ
understand what our core is all about. We got to know what makes us
ಕ್ಯಾಫೆ
tick.
ಗಿಫೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು
All the presentations
ಇಲ್ಲ
aside,
ಎಲ್ಲ
all the AI aside, I think it's all going to boil down to two important factors. One is your emotional quotient, and the
ನೀ
second is your
ಕೇಳಿ
storytelling
ಸಾಕು
skills.
ನೀ
If your
ಅದನ್ನ
storytelling
ಕೇಳೋ
skills are not good, if your storytelling skills are not impactful, if your storytelling skills are not emotional, if your storytelling skills don't make people laugh, nobody will want to watch you, nobody will want to pay you, nobody will want to work with you.
ನೈಟ್ ಪ್ಯಾಂಟ್ಸ್
As
ಬೇಕು
simple as that.
ನನಗೆ
And that all that has to come from a honest and
ಅದರಿಂದ
authentic
ಶರ್ಟ್
place in your soul. If you're honest and authentic to yourself at the end of the day, you will achieve success. If you're not, somewhere down the line, you will fail. Failure will happen sooner or later. But the point is, are we true to ourselves? Can we look in the mirror and say, you know what? I want to be true to myself. I want to make this moment count. I want to make this failure count. And don't worry about failure. Don't worry about failure. When you talk about failure, when you talk about gratitude, if there's one leader which comes to my mind is Mr. Ratan Tata. The Tatas, they started Air India, and they've been such a big. They've done so much. They've done so much in India, and he's done so much for
ಅದನ್ನ
senior
ಈಗ ಜಾಗ
citizens,
ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು
for
12
dogs.
ಇಯರ್ಸ್
And
ನಂಗೆ
if
10
you
ಮಿನಿಟ್ಸ್
notice the way
ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು.
he talks in such a graceful and calm manner, I think that's a perfect example of EQ. I think Sudha Murthy ji is a perfect example of EQ. Jeffrey Arch is an example of EQ. Sunshine, my dog, is an example of EQ. I think we are all examples of EQ in various forms. It's about utilizing that power which we have within us. I think that's our superpower. And that's why I wore this orange colored shirt. It's straight from Auroville. You know, our superpower is the fact that we have to understand ourselves. We have to give ourselves enough time. You are leaders, you are coaches, you are CEOs, you are CXOs. You might have a good day, you might have a bad day, right? I think that's very important. How do you make your bad days count? I don't think any leader ever talks about the bad days. Everybody on social media only talks about, my God, everything is looking perfect. I'm looking good. I'm looking great. Everybody wants to be the best version of themselves on social media. But if your core character has to come out, if your honesty has to come out, if your authenticity has to come out, if your magical power has to come out as a leader, I think it's very important to be honest to yourself. It's very important to say that, you know what, I think I've screwed up, I think I've made a mistake, I own up to it, and I keep moving forward. Because our life experiences will teach us a lot. Our life experiences, the failures we learn in life, the people we have been with, the people we have had a fight with, the people we have had a relationship with, those relationships teach
42 ಅಂದ್ರೆ
you a
ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ವಾ
lot.
ಡಬಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್
And
ಇದೆಯಾ?
it's you have the power to decide whether you want to be in that relationship, whether you want to have that stakeholder in your life, whether you
ನಿಮ್ಗೆ
want to
ಅಷ್ಟು
talk to that
ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ
client, whether
ನಲ್ವತ್ತಾ?
you want to have that counseling. You can
ಶರ್ಟು
take that decision. You have the power,
ಇಲ್ಲ.
right? If you look around us right now, if you look at movies, if you look at advertisements around us, in the last 5 to 10 years, if you look at Hindi films, for example, which Hindi film stands out? Three Idiots. Why? It's emotional, inspirational. It can correlate to all of us. There's one movie I recommend to everybody, Shawshank Redemption. I think it's a movie about hope, survival, victory, and redemption. All these movies somewhere, I'm just giving an example here. All these movies somewhere show us that storytelling is so, so important. Bahubali, yeah, Bahubali talks about valor, talks about bravery. RRR talks about dance, talks about our culture. Lagan, yes, Lagan, and I've shared this with all of you. when you talk about Lagan, I don't know if you know this, but Kapil Dev was the consultant for Lagan. And for a long time, Kapil Dev was not told by Amir Khan ki what is the ending of the movie. So it was the world's best, Bollywood's best kept secret about Lagan and why the movie was so important. But I think that's really important. It's about how you strategize. It's about your storytelling skills, and I think Shawshank Redemption is. I would recommend this movie to anyone and everyone. It's a movie you should watch if you're having a good day. It's a movie you should watch if you're having a bad day. It's a movie you should watch with your parents, with your friends, with your family. I think it's a beautiful movie. It's about hope, and we all live in hope, like they say in the Shawshank Redemption. Get busy living or get busy dying. And if you're living right now, you have to live each and every moment out of it, which basically means you have to be on top of the game. You have to ensure that you make the most of what life has to offer you. Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for listening in. And I want to leave you with a very, very short message, which goes like this. Uh, I had been to this Mount Kailash Mansoor like a few years back, and I realized that life that experience of going to Mount Kailash Mansoor Lake was a soul-stirring experience of my life because I went through so much in that journey. It was a 53-kilometer trek around the mountains, and it was an experience to behold. It was an experience which taught me so much about what life is and how we take on life and what nature can do. I also realized at that point of time that we are capable of anything and everything. We are invincible if we are in complete control of ourselves and not get distracted by which everything which is happening around us. So on that distracted note, uh, yeah, a lot of movies are coming in by Rahul Ramachandran. Uh, Best of Leo, yes. On that interesting note, I want to tell all of you that I think it was a wonderful session. I logged in a bit early to see what the session is about, and great work done by the ILA team. Great work done by Twinkle Kaushik. He's a great friend, lovely friend. I call him Mr. Twinkle Toes because he can just make you dance in a hurry. But I would like to tell you all this that storytelling and agency is a skill of the 21st century. If you don't have that skill, start learning it right now. You can also connect with me. My name is Shekhar Vijayan. It's been wonderful to listen to all of you and engage and indulge with all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Coach Shekhar Vijayan, an amazing speaker, a person who can, bring out the best of inspirations, and you can hear him for hours and hours, I can say. Okay,
Thank you.
this was
You're
this
very
was
sweet. Thank you.
exceptional because Shekhar, just to let you know, after the Bangalore Coaching Summit, I had a lot of people asking me, when are we going to have a session by Shekhar sir again in the sessions or something like that? And that was the time I had in my mind that the Indian Coaching Summit has to end. The ending note has to be Shekhar Vijayan, just like the Bangalore Coaching Summit. Okay.
Thank you.
So, because it brings a lot in from you, and not only Shekhar, to all the coaches who are present today,
Uh,
who made it on the Sunday to add value. And guys, do you know what is the biggest value to be added in a session? What is the biggest value? What is the biggest value? Learning.
We
Amazing.
learn a lot of things.
The biggest value is learning, and it goes out.
Gaining knowledge.
Yes, amazing. It goes out to all of you, right? All of you who are there right from beginning till the end. You are exceptional. You are great learners because with the enthusiasm, the curiousness, that curiosity which was always there whenever a new speaker was coming. I saw a lot of you making notes throughout the process, and you were cheering up the other speakers. That's a big thing. That's a big thing. Inspiring others to go ahead is a very big, very, very big thing. Because we may come here, we may give some gyan and go out, right? But it becomes of a value when it strikes a chord. And that's how today's session was all embedded, right? Thanks to Coach Joel, Coach Kaushik. Obviously, it goes back to him, everything to him, right? Coach Atul Ibrahim, Coach Rutuja, an amazing, dynamic, young coach, okay, giving inspiration to a lot of people to get into coaching, to get into the profession. Coach Shekhar, Coach Divya, who's our PCC coach. And, there was so much to learn. Coach Atul, Coach Arunji. Arunji's presence itself adds a lot of value, right? I can see so many people who are always there, who always make sure that they are there in the sessions, right? And Coach Rahul, you have been an amazing chat leader throughout. I want everyone to clap for Coach Rahul. He was amazing. Entirely, he was intact. I can see some new faces who have spoken on phone. Miss Janki Devi. Janki, I wholeheartedly remember you, okay? I know that I have spoken to you over the call, and I'm very glad that you made it to the session. Sunny, every time he makes sure he's there. Okay, Prasanna, Harita. I can see a lot of people traveling, but still there, right? So thank you so much, everyone. We're going to send
Uh,
out a
Twinkle, I'm on my
reflection
way
form.
to the
Yeah, please go ahead.
yeah, I'm on my way to the coaching session in Hyderabad in Kodapur. Yeah, I'm going there now.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Amazing, amazing, amazing. We would really love your reflections, guys. We'll share a reflection form. It would, definitely add value to us for becoming more prepared, right? And in case a few of you want to, just add one or two lines before we end the session, before I hand it over to the moderator of the session, that's
Okay, on
Mansi.
behalf
She's
of
waiting. Okay,
everyone,
she'll.
on behalf of everyone, I would like to thank you, Twinkle, for being so patient and for being such a lovely facilitator throughout this training. 4 hours is a long time. You require a lot of patience and strength, and you've been amazing. The smile on your face is contagious. So thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, everyone. Senthil was into the session altogether. Senthil was like, "Aaj hua na paisa vasool. Aaj I have learned so much."
Twinkle, I like to say only one word. Uh, there was some dark part which is going on last 1 week with me actually. So I just came here, I got refreshed, and last I just really thankful Vijay sir because the way he talked, it gave me a lot of solutions. So this is not only a platform for coaching. Also, I'm just saying it is also makes us very clear what we have to do further. And thanks a lot, actually, to each and every coach. I'm just personally saluting each and everybody. The care you're taking to just make the peoples to be in the line at the same time you're giving lot of knowledge. Salute each and everybody else. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Coach Rahul, you want to add something?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I couldn't attend the physical session in coaching summit in Bangalore, but this made up for it. I would just say, like in Dirty Picture, Vidya Balan says, entertainment, entertainment, entertainment. This was inspiration, inspiration, inspiration.
Superb, superb.
ट्विंकल ट्विंकल राहुल का नाम तो याद रखेगा, लाइक
Rahul, नाम
राहुल
तो सुना ही
नाम तो याद
होगा.
रखेगा. नाम तो सुना ही होगा.
Yeah, thank you,
But Twinkle, I have to
Shekhar
tell
ji.
this. But Twinkle, I have to tell this to you. I think you moderated the session beautifully. 4 hours is no joke. You got an infectious smile, and I think the stars really shined down with you, Twinkle. You're not there up there. You're right here, and I think everybody here should clap for Twinkle. She's done a wonderful job of getting all speakers, like all of us here. If you can whistle, please whistle. But I think we should clap for her. I think it's great.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Twinkle.
much. Thank you, everyone. It's our pleasure.
And
And
I
over
want to
to
really
you.
thank Shekhar. Like the ending is indeed superb, Shekhar. You are truly awesome. I have
Thank you
been
so much.
sitting
Thank
here
Yeah,
you.
I
for
agree with
almost
that.
two or
I
four
think
hours.
in such a short time, giving
Yeah,
imparting so much of
seriously.
knowledge,
You know that
hats
energy
off to
that
you.
we
Yeah,
can see
actually,
coming
Shekhar
here.
sir.
Really,
Thank
simply
you. Thank you so much.
mind
Thank you,
blowing.
Sunny ji. Thank you, Mamta ji. Thank you. Let's stay connected.
Thank you. Yeah.
Definitely.